Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to getting well informed. So today we're diving into something.
Well, it's really fundamental, isn't it? How speech and hearing. There's so much more than just, talking and listening. They're really like the cornerstones of what makes us human. We're going to unpack how these basic abilities really shape three key things for you: how you perceive the world, how you feel, and how you learn. And our guide for this is a great piece on Medium by Tyreek A Gaynor-Fray.
That's right. And this article really drives home that without speech and hearing, our whole grasp on reality, our connections, they'd be completely different. It's not just about communication in the simple sense.
Yeah, it goes much deeper.
Yeah, the piece shows this deep connection, doesn't it? How perception, emotion, learning, they all tie together. So yeah, we'll look at each one and then kind of how they braid into this whole picture.
Okay, sounds good. Let's kick things off with perception then. The article makes this really powerful point that perception isn't passive. You're not just taking things in, you're actively building your reality. Exactly. And speech is a huge part of that construction. Think about linguistic relativity, the Sapir-Whorf idea.
Right, the idea that language shapes thought.
Precisely. The article gives examples like cultures with lots of words for snow or time. Their language gives them these categories, these mental bins, so they actually perceive snow or time differently, noticing distinctions others might just gloss over.
Wow. So the words you have available actually change what you see or experience.
In a way, yes. It influences what you attend to, what seems important or distinct. And hearing, of course, adds another massive layer to perception beyond just the words.
How so?
Well, think about all the auditory qualities, the tone of voice, the rhythm, the stress on certain words, the pitch.
Ah, okay, all the stuff that isn't the literal words.
Exactly. The article uses the classic example, I'm fine. You say that phrase, but how you say it tells the real story.
Totally. Sincere, sarcastic, annoyed, worried.
Right. And it's the hearing, the picking up on those vocal inflections that lets you decode the real meaning. Those subtle cues are crucial for navigating, everyday social interactions.
It's pretty amazing how much we convey without changing the text, essentially.
It is. And this ties into the social side of perception, too. The article points out how things like accents and dialects, well, they influence how we judge people.
Oh, definitely. Like assumptions about competence or trustworthiness, even social class.
Yeah. So your perception of a speaker isn't just based on what they say, but critically how they say it, which can easily lead to unconscious biases.
Right. Things we might not even be aware we're doing. So speech and hearing aren't just input channels. They're like active filters, shaping how we see the world and how we interpret other people.
That's a great way to put it. Dynamic filters. It really changes how you think about just talking and listening.
Okay, so moving from perception,
Yeah.
let's talk emotion. Speech feels intrinsically emotional, doesn't it? And hearing is the gateway.
Absolutely. The article highlights vocal prosody, the music of speech, pitch, volume, rhythm. Even babies, before they understand any words, they respond strongly to the emotional tone of a voice.
Yeah, you know instantly if someone's happy or angry or sad just from the sound. It's universal.
It is. And think about daily life. A gentle voice can calm you down.
While a harsh tone can instantly put you on edge.
Exactly. It provokes fear or anger. That emotional weight is why spoken communication often hits harder than written text for things like humor or empathy.
Right, because you get that direct hit of emotion through the sound itself. It feels more immediate.
And this connection makes the impact of, say, hearing loss really clear. The article talks about the frustration, the loneliness, the depression that can come with it.
Because you're cut off from those small, everyday emotional exchanges, like laughter or a quiet reassurance.
Precisely. Those subtle sounds that signal connection and belonging. It's a profound kind of isolation.
Which really highlights why things like hearing aids or cochlear implants are so important. It's not just about function. It's about restoring that emotional connection.
It's about rejoining the human conversation, emotionally speaking, which, interestingly, brings up our internal conversation.
You mean self-talk. How does that connect?
Well, the article suggests speech isn't just for expressing emotion to others, but also for regulating our own emotions. Talking to yourself aloud, giving yourself a pep talk, calming yourself down.
Ah, like coaching yourself through something.
Exactly. Using your own voice to guide your internal state, rehearsing how to cope.
That makes sense. And it works on a bigger scale too, right? Like collective things, chanting, prayers, even a really powerful speech.
Yes. Those can create shared emotional states, hope, confidence, community spirit. So speech and hearing, they don't just express emotion, they actively shape and regulate it. for individuals and for groups.
Okay, perception, emotion. Now, let's look at learning. Speech and hearing seem absolutely fundamental here, both in, like, school and just everyday learning.
Oh, completely. Starting from day one, really. Babies learn speech by listening and imitating. They connect sounds to meanings. And the article stresses, if hearing is impaired early on, that whole process of language acquisition can be seriously delayed.
So that auditory input is just critical right from the start.
Hugely critical. And it continues right into formal education. Think about a classroom. Speech is still the main way information flows, isn't it?
Yeah, teachers explain, students listen, ask questions, discuss.
Right. Hearing lets you process that complex information as it happens in real time, and speech lets you articulate what you understand or where you're confused and work with others.
Even with all the tech we have now, that back and forth talking still feels essential.
It is. For nuance, for immediacy, text just doesn't capture everything, and speech really fuels higher order thinking, too.
How do you mean?
Through dialogue, debate, discussion, you encounter different viewpoints. That challenges your own thinking, forces you to refine it. It's not just about absorbing facts.
Active processing. And the article mentioned memory, too.
Yes. Explaining something out loud or discussing it in a group, that actually helps you remember it better than just reading silently.
Interesting. And good hearing obviously means you get the full picture of the content, the tone, the emphasis, all the keys to real meaning.
Absolutely. Which brings us to think about challenges in education. Students with hearing impairments face real hurdles in standard classrooms.
But there are ways to help, right? Like sign language, captioning.
Yes, exactly. Assistive technologies make a huge difference, allowing fuller engagement. It shows how vital speech and hearing are, but also that humans are adaptable. We find other pathways to learn and communicate.
So we've got these three strands: perception, emotion, learning. How does the article bring them all together?
It paints them as this interconnected web, constantly influencing each other, all mediated through speech and hearing.
Like a cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Your perception of how something is said affects your interpretation. That shapes your emotional response. Maybe you feel engaged or defensive. Your emotional state then impacts your ability or even your willingness to learn. And what you learn then feeds back, reshaping how you perceive similar situations in the future and how you react emotionally.
It's a continuous loop.
Always in motion. The article gives a great classroom example. Students perceive the teacher's tone maybe enthusiastic, maybe bored.
Okay.
That influences their interpretation of the lesson, right? And their emotional response inspired maybe or anxious.
Which then affects how motivated they are to actually learn the material.
Precisely. And the learning that happens or doesn't happen then shapes their future perceptions of teachers, school, challenges. It shows perfectly how perception, emotion, and learning are just inseparable, and speech and hearing are the channel for it all.
It really is the texture of our interactions, isn't it? Like if your boss gives feedback, but their tone sounds annoyed, you might perceive perfectly good advice as criticism, which makes you feel defensive, and then you don't actually learn from it.
Exactly. But a supportive tone, that opens you up emotionally, makes you receptive to learning. We're constantly processing all these layers at once, usually without even thinking about it.
Okay, so within this web, the article talks about triggers.
Yeah.
What are those exactly?
Yeah, triggers are like powerful cues within speech. A word, a phrase, even just a tone of voice that activates something already in your mind.
Like a shortcut response, based on past experience or culture.
Exactly. Personal, cultural, maybe even deeper evolutionary associations. And they have this ability to grab your attention.
How so?
Think about emotionally loaded words: danger, freedom, family. They instantly capture focus, right? They direct your perception, sometimes overriding everything else.
Oh, like in politics or advertising, using specific words to frame things.
Definitely. They're used strategically all the time, but it happens in everyday chat, too. And these triggers, the article points out, can activate our biases.
Okay, explain that a bit more.
Well, the way something is phrased, or even just the accent someone has, it can unconsciously trigger stereotypes or assumptions you hold. Maybe about their intelligence, or how friendly they are, or if you should trust them.
Whether those assumptions are fair or accurate or not.
Correct. And that directly shapes how you interact with them, the decisions you make about them, and emotionally. Triggers can hit hard.
Like bringing back old feelings.
Yeah. A certain phrase might remind you of comfort, maybe from childhood, and it calms you. Or a harsh tone might instantly make you defensive because it echoes past negative experiences. So these triggers aren't just words, they're like psychological buttons being pushed.
Wow, okay. So given how powerful these triggers and the delivery of speech are, the article offers a really important counterpoint, doesn't it? About focusing on meaning.
Yes, absolutely crucial. While tone and style matter hugely, over-focusing on how something is said can actually lead you astray. You might misinterpret the actual message or let bias creep in because of the delivery.
So the advice is to try and consciously focus on the substance, the actual content.
Exactly. By concentrating on the substance, you aim for fairness, for clarity. You try to get to the real message. It helps you judge ideas on their own merit, not just on how slickly or confidently they're presented.
Or based on an accent you happen to like or dislike.
Precisely. It fosters more respectful communication, minimizes prejudice triggered by, voice or mannerisms. Ultimately, it leads to stronger connections based on understanding and better, more informed decisions. It's about listening through the surface.
What a fascinating deep dive this has been. It's just so clear, isn't it, that speech and hearing are, they're woven into the very fabric of being human. So much more than just senses. They shape our identity, our connections, our growth.
Perception, emotion, learning, all constantly interacting through these channels.
Yeah, and it really underscores the impact when those channels are impaired.
Yeah.
Highlighting why support, technology, inclusive approaches, they're not just helpful, they're essential for well-being and participation.
Absolutely. It's about access to that fundamental human experience. Which leaves us with a thought to ponder, perhaps. If speech and hearing are so foundational, shaping your reality, your feelings, your knowledge, think about your own life, your daily interactions. What subtle biases might be shaping your perceptions? What cues in how others speak affect how you feel or what you take away? And conversely, how does your own way of speaking influence others? Now that we've unpacked all this, what stands out to you about how you speak, and maybe more importantly, how you listen?
That's definitely something to reflect on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just carrying that awareness into your next conversation. See what you notice.